Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button, and if you want to submit to be on the show, take a look at the information in the description.
The Sansom Rivers Casino in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yep.
136 game.
Mandatory six?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 50-50 whether we run 2-5 or 136. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, but
Well, I
I
would
like
say
the
that
136 better.
I would say 136 is better than 2-5, right? Because I mean,
Yeah,
136 you're
definitely.
gonna 136. I mean, any no limit game, I'm always gonna be more partial to three blinds. I think it just creates action. People play more hands, and then I think that you'll get weaker players sometimes that think, oh, hey, it's a 1-3 game. What's the buy-in structure?
300 to 1,000.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's pretty cool. 300 to
Yeah,
1,000. Okay.
yeah, it's a good game.
Yep.
Okay, I'm on the button. Villain 1 is an MP2. He's an older guy. He plays a lot.
hmm
Real loose passive pre-flop, does a lot of limping, and then plays pretty straightforward post.
Yep.
He raises to 20. V2, who is the main villain in the cutoff, he's got about 450 in his stack. I'm covered by V1, by the way, for whatever that's going to be
V1's
worth.
in +1 or under the gun?
MP2.
Oh, MP2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and then V2, who I cover, he has about a 450 in the cutoff. Younger guy, I had never seen him. We had played one hand together where it just came off to me that he was a relatively weaker player. But he was talking to one of the regs at the table, like they knew each other. So maybe I just never played with him out of some weird coincidence. So he calls, and then I am on the button with pocket fives, and I also make the call. Thought about 3-betting briefly, but I feel like if I flop a set against V1, I could win a lot of money. And if I 3-bet and he calls, I'm pretty much crushed by his range.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I got to throw out resident nit on Crush Live Poker, Jesse the Suit. If anybody's a subscriber to CLP and is on Discord, we've sort of gone back and forth about pre-flop play at the low stakes level. And I will, I may be biased in the sense that I do a fair amount of flatting, stuff that you would never see like an online player do or a player at the high stakes level do, like sometimes even double flatting, like calling and then calling a 3-bet, over limping. And that's because my history comes from very, very weak competition in live games. Like I couldn't even, how deep was MP2, by the way?
450.
450. So 450 effective.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even imagine folding pocket fives here in this spot. Now, if you go back to the
never.
Yeah, if you go back to the old school CLP, 15, 25, 35, it's probably pretty close because of the fact that these guys are only 450 deep. But
no, V1. I have 950, and V1 has me covered.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I'm
trying to get in there with V1.
Yeah.
Here
So, anyways, the point that I'm making is that there was a discussion about, well, if somebody makes it 3x or 4x under the gun, and a couple people call, should you be folding sixes through deuces on the button? And I just I have just seen people. I can't even imagine folding a pair there in that particular spot, or a suited connector for that matter, or sometimes even a gap suited connector, especially when you're in the button and people don't have to, people aren't going to necessarily squeeze out, squeeze behind you, right? You don't have to worry about anybody squeezing behind you. So I think that obviously a flat here is fine. 3-betting small pocket pairs. I'm not, the playability post is pretty polar, meaning that you just, if you're going to structure your barrels correctly, then you want to be 3-betting like Broadway suited hands, sometimes suited aces, things like that, just for sheer playability, right? So you make the call with 5-5. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and the blinds all fold, so there's $64 in the pot after rake.
Yep.
And the flop comes out 6 of diamonds, queen of diamonds, and a black deuce.
Okay.
And it checks to me. And after V1 checks, I'm pretty sure I have him beat. V2, I'm not really sure what he has yet, but I bet $35. And then both villains call.
So this is interesting. So you bet $35 here. One of the things, though, like I said, as my game is also evolving, that I do buy from sort of the newer school modeling in terms of bet sizing is that if you're going to protection bet, you don't have to protection bet that large. So you're betting 35 here into 64, queen six deuce. First of all, it's pretty. Did you have the five of diamonds in your hand, by the way? Do you remember?
No, no, I do not. I do not have the five of diamonds.
So this one's probably pretty close, man. I mean, maybe with the five of diamonds, it can be a bet. You do have some backdoors here. It's queen six deuce with two diamonds. The point that I'm trying to make is that if you're going to protection bet, you actually don't have to protection bet this that large. You're betting 35 here into 64. You could probably get away with betting even 25. And I'll tell you why with this configuration too. Not that people are necessarily are paying attention to this all the time, but you actually kind of have the preflop raiser leveraged because he's first, and then you've got someone behind him. So it's very, very hard for him to call with ace high types of hands, even though you want that call. But I'm saying that, like, if your head's up, yeah, he's probably going to continue on here with a lot, but he's got to worry about the guy behind him too. So I just wonder if you need to bet this much. But okay, you bet 35.
Yeah, and they both call. So
right, so call.
V1 and V2.
Yeah.
Pot's 169. And then the turn is black four, does not complete the backdoor flush draw, does not complete the diamonds.
All right, so six of diamonds, queen of diamonds, deuce of clubs, four of spades, okay?
Yes, and it checks to me again.
Okay.
And I bet 105. Not sure what you think about that. It might have been optimistic, but I think this bet gets all pairs below the queen to fold. Get called by flush draws. So I think this has a chance was like the combo bet you talk about, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Honestly, if I was going to bet here, I would just bet the pot. This is again another thing new. I would bet like 150 to 160 and then just give up at the end.
Okay.
I mean, I sort of see what you're saying in the terms of like, okay, well, if we can get every non-queen to fold and queens are continuing on here, then sometimes we can risk less by betting smaller. But I don't necessarily know if that's the case here when you bet 105 on front door diamonds. I feel like people might continue to call with, pairs between sixes and diamond and a queen, thinking that you're basically, possibly betting a diamond draw. I think polarizing to, a fairly strong hand here, 150 to 160, and then you do have some equity, and then if you get called, basically you just give up. I think you are going to get more folds if you bet larger here instead of this sort of in-between bet. But you bet 105.
Yeah. V1 thinks for a little bit, and then he folds.
By the way, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if I were to start a bet on the flop here, I'm not always going to bet here on the turn with two people to call. I'm just saying if I were to choose a bet sizing, it would be on the larger side. How often would I bet? Probably not that often. I just think that betting here for 105 doesn't accomplish all that much. I might just very well check behind a good portion of the time. But okay, you bet 105. Yep.
Yep. V1 thinks a little bit. He folds. And then V2 calls. And so pretty much like you just said, unless the river comes a 3 or a 5, and I don't even know if I'm going to bet the 5 of diamonds if that hits on the river, but I do plan on checking back just about everything.
So the pot is like 379, right? 379.
Yeah, I have 378, but
yeah.
So yeah.
so this guy so you put in 105 on the turn, 35 on the flop. So this guy has like what 300-ish left, something like that in his stack, right? The cutoff.
291.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. So
six
of diamonds, queen of diamonds, deuce of clubs, 4 of spades. All right, let's go to the river.
Yep. And then the river is the 9 of hearts.
Okay.
And then V2 open shoves for 291. Pot is 669. I'm getting a little over 2 to 1.
So he just open shoves at the end here on pretty much a brick, right? Queen of diamonds, 6 of diamonds,
yes.
deuce of clubs, 4 of spades, 9 of hearts. I mean, here's the thing. Like, this is one of these spots again where, well, first of all, there's two things going on here. Number one, I think that players that might not have as much live experience as I do might look at this line like, oh, it's a bluff, like he missed diamonds. I actually don't think that this line is very bluffy because you have shown so much strength by betting the flop and betting the turn. Do you think that a guy in your player pool is just now going to nakedly jam almost a pot size bet all in here on a brick at the end when it looks like you have a queen?
There are a few. I didn't know this guy, but yeah, there aren't many people like that.
Yeah, I mean that's the first thing. So I think people are like, "Oh, the front door missed, like I have to call." The second thing is that sheer hand strength. Like your hand is not strong enough to call in the sense that you might lose accidentally to some hands too.
Yeah,
It's always
that was a thought I had.
it's always bad when you can call and you lose to some bluffs. You know what I mean? Like I don't, I put the
Yeah.
flop distribution up as queen of diamonds, six of diamonds, deuce of clubs. Um, I don't know exactly what it was. We'll put it up there. But like, for example, say the six wasn't a diamond, right? Like say it was queen of diamonds, deuce of diamonds, six of clubs instead. And
Yeah.
then he jammed the river and you called and he's like, good call. I have a six. He had six X of diamonds. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, it's just one of these spots where, or sometimes like a guy, he's probably not going to do that with a queen. I have seen some crazy shit go down where somebody doesn't know what to do and they just jam all in. Or if he ran into 9x of diamonds. I'm not saying that that's common, but this would be a pretty trivial fold for me for those two reasons. Number one, I actually don't think this looks like a bluff. And number two, your hand's not strong enough to call. What he has here, it possibly could be like nines. You block the nuts in the form of 5-3. It's sort of surprising that he doesn't put more money in here on the turn, like with some sort of hand. Like there aren't really a whole lot of two pair types of hands out there. I guess it would be like, but I mean, it could be queen nine, it could be pocket nines. I'm not going to call here. I mean, you're 291, 379, so you need to be good here. 1 out of 2.3, 1 out of 2.4 times. What ended up happening?
I thought about it for a while, and I was just confused. I didn't see much value that he could have had, and I ended up calling.
Wow,
and
called. Okay.
he showed 6-4 of spades for a turned two pair.
Yeah, I mean 6-4 spades. So he played. He showed 6-4 spades. We'll call it. We'll do the reveal and we'll say it's 6-4 clubs because I put the deuce of clubs. I know that the Anita, our editor, if we use this, you put 6-4 clubs because I had put the deuce of clubs up there on the flop. So that means the 4 spades came on the turn. But it was a black 6-4, right? So
yes, yeah, it was suited. It was suited.
Yeah, black 6-4. Yeah, I mean that's kind of interesting in the sense that, he turned two pair and then decided to play it in that manner. But more often than not, when you're betting for protection, although you were sort of betting as a bluff, but your hand is basically the equivalent. When you're betting for protection, and then somebody suddenly just wakes up and jams river from up front, it's actually usually not a bluff. Like, say, for example, you had king queen here, king queen off, or like king 10 suited that you flatted. Even then, man, obviously it's a much easier call. Or so not king 10, queen 10 suited, queen 9, queen 10 suited. Even then, I would be pretty hesitant. At that point, I'm actually looking at it like sometimes even the value of my queen is because I've seen situations where I have queen 10 and the river, that you run this river and then the guy jams and you call with queen 10 and the guy says, good call, I just have a queen, and you lose. So I think that even like queen 10 and queen jack is close. The point that I'm trying to make here is that on the surface, this might look spazzy bluff, but to me, it actually screams quite value. The check call, blast on a blank at the end. Now you might have a guy that's just totally out there and crazy, right? And the line doesn't make sense, but I don't know. That's my take on it. I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. If you like what you've seen here, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this call in hand, hit the like button down below. To check out crushlivepoker.com, click on the link in the description. Use the code YTA300 to get the first 30 days for free.